What issue is most important to you as we head into November?
For me personally, I'm not only I'm a state representative, but I'm also a pharmacist. I just kind of completed a 45-year career as a pharmacy owner in Bolivar, and so I have been deeply involved in healthcare. I was a part of a group of business people, business and professional people, over 30 years ago to help establish a hospital in Springfield, in Bolivar, Citizens Memorial, which has been an important part of the healthcare service in our area. And as a representative, I have had the privilege of serving as the chairman of the Health and the Mental Health Policy Committee, which, and of course we deal with, obviously, with issues concerning health care and its the availability. My mission, if I have such a thing, is to find ways to allow more health care professionals to provide more health care. I'm working on a bill right now. It was being introduced last year. It was to be introduced last year, but everything got turned upside down. That will expand the practice parameters of advanced practice nurses, advanced practice registered nurses, APRNs, and they have their practice parameters in place now, but there are certain regulatory restrictions on them that makes access to them difficult in certain areas of the state. And so I am going to be sponsoring a bill. I'll be carrying a bill. There's a Senate version of the same bill that will help advanced practice registered nurses have greater access, or have patients have greater access to their services and their expertise. That same issue applies to a number of different health professionals, and mental health, of course, is the demand for mental health services are just growing exponentially, and this area of COVID, mental health issues, I think, will emerge as a great crisis that has been exacerbated by the shutdown restrictions of this COVID period that we're in. I would like to find a way to have more mental health professionals have greater practice parameters, so patients in need of mental health care services can have access to their expertise. There are other health professionals, pharmacists like myself, and others, physical therapists, on and on, that I am wanting to find ways to have greater patient access to these people who are trained to give that care, but in many cases there are regulatory hurdles, and I am on a mission to try to overcome some of those.
What are we doing wrong right now, if anything, and what will you do differently if you're reelected?
You mean in regards to anything, or health care?
However you take it.
Well, I have been very supportive of the governor in this. I mean, I guess right now COVID is the issue that drowns out everything else, and I am very, very supportive of the governor's approach to allowing communities that know their communities to determine what regulations are best suited for the health and the welfare, the benefit of the citizens in their communities. I think every official, I think, will tell you and admit that this caught us completely off guard, and that it was trying to. I don't know if making it up as you go along, because I know the governor was tapped into the expertise of epidemiologists and health professionals in the universities, but I think that they have learned along about the protective equipment and the importance of masking, and I think that I know I have visited with superintendents, the school superintendents in our area, and they are a little frustrated right now with the very strict regulations, quarantine regulations. And I think that one of the things that I would like to see is a little more flexibility within the schools to let school officials determine a little bit about what is reasonable in the quarantine rules, because I think that they are forced right now to send kids home when many times it might be reasonable for them that it would not be unreasonable for them to stay and not have to leave and be quarantined. Not in every case, but I mean that's an example of trying to learn as we go in this new crisis. And I think schools would like to have a little more flexibility.
What do you believe is most important to the district?
Well, economic opportunity, of course. Economic opportunity and healthcare seem to be always at the top of every agenda. And of course, in our part of the country, agriculture is the number one industry. I serve on the Agriculture Committee, and we have been trying to be sure that state regulations are open to develop more ways for agriculture production, and that is probably one of the most important things that we can do. I'm an advocate of it goes by a number of different names, but basically it is taxing internet sales, because in Missouri now internet sales do not have the same sales tax as local businesses do. And I would like to see that change, because to me that is basically a state-sponsored program encouraging people not to use local businesses. And I think that adopting it goes by the name Wayfair, which actually is the name of the Supreme Court ruling that opened up the door for states to tax internet sales. That has not moved very far thus far, but I think it would be a big help to fund necessary programs of the state, and also very, very necessary for local businesses to have a level playing field, and also for local communities to have an important funding resource.
What do you believe is top of mind for voters right now? Economy, racism, or COVID-19? Which is the biggest concern, and how would you address it?
Well, I think everybody has the COVID-19 on their minds, and my personal sense of the electorate is that they want to open up life in a more normal way. I think that people are extremely, at least the people in my district, I believe are extremely frustrated over the restrictions, and I'm not, and I can't blame the administration. I can't really blame the health departments that are faced with a problem of great magnitude that they certainly weren't prepared to do. So they are doing their best, but these restrictions are working a great difficulty on and burden on everyone, and people are wanting to find a way to normalize life. And it was interesting. There was an announcement on the national news about the World Health Organization actually acknowledging that these shutdowns and these restrictions are causing social problems that may be overcoming the health problems. And I think that what I would like to see is more of a balance, that protecting the people who are most vulnerable in the way that they should be protected, being sure that there are proper restrictions. You know, we all have these now that we carry around, and even places where it's not mandated, most people are using them. And so we believe that there are ways of normalizing life while still protecting those people who are the most vulnerable.
How would you reassure the voters that you will fight for what they want?
Well, because I am Bolivar. I am my district. I mean, I fight for the people that I represent because they are me. I am them, and I always have been. I was born and raised and educated in Bolivar. I was gone for a few years off to school, and but I have my family we have two-generation family business in Bolivar. I've been in business myself for 45 years. I am deeply involved in my church. I was president of the Rotary Club, a 35-year member. I am deeply a part of the people that I serve, and I feel that my feeling in my interaction with my constituents is that they do feel and they do believe that I have their best interest at heart, and that is certainly my mission and my goal all the time.
Why run for office?
Well, that's always a question, and when it's interesting that when you first run for office, you go to candidate school, and they say that people will ask you why you're doing this, and you're supposed to come up with a little pithy answer to do it. And the Stevens are kind of smarty pants, and so I always said that that was so my brother would always have to address me as the Honorable. But aside from that, I have been actively involved in legislative work for many years. I was the president of the Missouri Pharmacy Association, and through that I did years of special interest lobbying or legislative work, and I've done political fundraising, and so it was It was a set of circumstances where I had not ever had political ambitions. I had no notions that I would do this, but the water seemed to part. Some of the people that I thought would naturally step into this office stepped aside. There seemed to be an open door, and it was a time in my life that I felt that it was I could reasonably I could do justice to the work and still do justice to my business, and so I talked it over with my wife and my family, and we made the leap about 5 years ago, and all of a sudden I'm a politician, and I've very much enjoyed the process. It's been a very satisfying experience.